right. Hello, everybody. This is the Digital Prepper, and today we are live. I got some awesome guests here. Got Prepping with Sarge, Apartment Prepper, and Vancity Prepper here. We're just gonna kind of get right into it. For anybody new here, I'm the Digital Prepper. My channel is essentially how to use technology in your everyday preparedness. I kind of go over things like cybersecurity, things like data breaches and things of that nature. I go over kind of hardware reviews as well. I've looked at drones. I've looked at solar generators and things of that nature. So yeah, we're just gonna kind of go around. Everybody, kind of introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about your channel and kind of tell us um, what got you into prepping.
You want us to go
Let's
clockwise?
yeah, yeah. Let's start with you, Sarge.
All right. Hey, guys, I'm Prepping with Sarge. I think I know a lot of people in Digital Preppers audience already. I know some of Van's audience and some of Apartment Preppers audience. So I am on YouTube. And on Instagram. On Instagram, I'm at prepping_with_Sarge. And I do a little bit of everything, kind of hiking, lost in the woods stuff. If there's two areas that I focus a little bit more on, it's on food self-sufficiency, specifically gardening and foraging, and mental health issues as they relate to prepping, trauma issues, anxiety, things like that. And I've been doing this pretty much my whole life. My mom was a gardener, so I remember being like 4 years old and learning about this stuff. And my dad was a paratrooper, 82nd Airborne, so he taught me a lot about wilderness survival and evasion and things like that. So I think I was pretty much born to do this, and very glad to be here. Thank you so much for having us here today, Digital Prepper.
Yeah, of course.
Awesome. I guess I'm next, huh? I am apartment prepper in case you don't know me. Obviously, I live in an apartment and I prep, but it's a real basic. I do things like grocery hauls and using your preps in an apartment and things like that. Pretty simple. Thank you.
Oh, hi. Hi, guys. Good to see you all. I consider you all friends. I'm so happy to see you. And I'm looking in the chat, and oh, it's so good to see you guys. I also feel very disconnected because we're in the middle of a very large move right now. So I've been offline and I kind of binge watch videos when I can. I saw Prepping by Faith's awesome one about over-the-counter medication. That was so great. But hope to be back in soon. So in about year 2001, I got my first job mapping glaciers behind Whistler. We were doing a glacial inventory to watch how they were shrinking because my background is geological science. And then I spent years doing that kind of work. Pretty much until, I don't know, like 2015 or 2016, I was out in the field probably 7 or 8 months a year, get dropped off, do our work, and get picked up weeks later. And, we used the stoves, we purified our water, we packed our food. And so, freeze-dried food and stuff. So I've always loved this stuff. I've always loved prepping meals and packaging and thinking what's going to be okay in the heat and what's going to attract animals. So it's just naturally links with preparedness. And then while I was out there, I became a licensed backcountry paramedic and was doing that kind of work at the same time, or sometimes just that kind of time. And then the other half of the channel, he's a helicopter pilot. He does rescue work. He does puts out fires, stuff like that. And we met like in one of those places. So we have this channel. Sometimes we show natural disaster stuff. Sometimes we show rescue things. And then sometimes we show pantries or grocery hauls. I love a good grocery haul. Loved Apartment Preppers video earlier today with those Idahoan potatoes. So that's just sort of why we're here. We just show little bits and pieces when we can. A lot of the cool stuff we can't put on social media. That's the tricky part. But we're just happy to meet you all and learn from all of you and add to the backgrounds we have by learning from all of your channels.
Awesome. Let's look at some of the comments over here. I do appreciate you guys, taking the time out to, join me on this live stream. Let's see, who else do we have here? We have Damien, we have Nate, Stuart's Prepping is here. Arc Wildman Survival. Who else? We have Floydian Slip. Let's see. Prepping by Faith. Yep, she's here. Sassy Gal Prepping. Fred, hello from Maine. Hello. Let's see. Oh, we got Bacon. Bacon's here. Bacon's awesome. Go check it out. Go check out his channel as well. Burpee Yoga Uncle. He's also cool too. Rita Hunter, Peaceful Monkey. Hello from Montreal from Aqua Run Girl. Awesome. We got a whole bunch of people here. So I guess the first thing I kind of want to ask for all of you guys is how are you guys, like, what are you guys doing at the moment? How are you adding to your preps or changing anything with your kind of preparedness plans? I'll let Vancity go first because I know she has like a whole. Yeah, I'm not going to spoil anything, but she had a whole big thing that just happened with her. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so our name is related to Vancouver. That's why it's Vancity. People think we live in a van. I wish. No, it's near a Canadian city. So hello to Aqua Run Girl, another Canadian. Anyways, so we were near that city. We were out in the country. We were originally in the city and then out in the country, and now we've relocated up to northern Canada. So we're kind of more remote setting. And we are, because it all got delayed, we're like scrambling to get food in the ground and working really hard at that and getting a really interesting food systems going. We're going to have an underground food growing with soil and everything that doesn't require light, because up here there's not a lot of daylight in the winter and it's really cold. So we're trying to build all these things. Some of the stuff we have experience in, some of it's brand new. So we're going to be binge watching again a bunch of channels to learn and hopefully share some of that stuff. I showed these guys, there's an excavator out the window right now working, so we're gonna hopefully have some interesting things to learn and share about. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the comments there. Anyway, so that's food in the ground is the big thing. Food forest, container food, and that type of stuff is what we're really working on right now. Anyway, enough about me.
Awesome. Am I next?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay. Why not? We'll just do it reverse. Being in a small apartment, it's really difficult sometimes with what you can do prepping wise. For me, it's a lot more of gear and groceries, so to speak. And then one thing I want to do, I want to start growing indoors here with some of the systems there are, the hydroponic systems. In fact, a shout out to Sassy Gal. She did a great video today about the hydroponic system she just got. I'm very jealous. But that's something I really want to get into. I can't do a lot, obviously, because it's a tiny 1-bedroom apartment. But I want to be able to at least, grow like lettuce and things like that, so I don't have to worry about the greens. Basically, I really want to do that, and so that's my next big step. And I'm just trying to get food and medicine and everything else I need to sustain us for a while.
We're all ready. Sorry about that.
No, it's all good. Actually, that's kind of cool because, funny enough, I actually do have a little hydroponic system. It's like one of those little like 4-pot type things that you can get like from Amazon or something.
Yeah.
And I tried that out and it worked fairly well. So I actually have been wanting to kind of like expand that, but I just don't have the space for it.
Yeah, that's just it. I mean, the space behind me up here is probably what I'm going to have. That's what I have to work with, kind of. I also have a little dog, and I don't need him getting into it. So, which he would.
All right, Sarge.
So what I was trying to pull up there for you, Apartment Prepper, is have you seen sprouting? Have you worked with sprouting at all?
I haven't seen it, but I don't know if you've ever heard of Family Man Prepper. He's doing a lot of indoor growing stuff. And I even had him on my live a couple weeks ago talking specifically about all that type of stuff. So yeah, I'm learning. I'm slowly learning.
Sprouting is awesome, and you need like almost no space. Like you could literally do it on a desktop.
I've seen,
I did a video on it. I was trying to work with a company called Sproutman, but they're very, very small, and they're like, we just can't take on any ambassadors right now and stuff like that. But they did send me a kit so I could kind of show the audience.
I'll have to find your video and watch it.
Yeah, super easy. In fact, DP, are you okay if I drop that in the links?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Okay, put it in there right now. While I'm doing that, so what? Right now, what I'm worried about and what I'm working on, my plans for the year was I was gonna. I'll throw that in the. Crap, I can't get into it right now. The video. I can't. I'll link it in a minute.
Sounds good.
I was going to work on some different skills this year. I was planning on relearning archery. And right now, with the economy being what it is, I really am not going to justify buying a bow and all the equipment that goes along with. So I'm holding off on that, just kind of focusing on financial stuff and food stuff right now. Very, very, my wife and I are both small business owners, so very, very worried about the economy and what's happening. The goal seems to be to reduce spending in the United States. I'm guessing it's probably the same in Canada, Van. They want to get people. So the people who are going to get hurt the most on that are small businesses, which is us. So, but I get it. I mean, inflation has been out of control, and the only way to stop inflation is to get people to spend less. So that's what we're focusing on, playing around with our financial stuff a little bit, tightening the belts a little bit, cutting back on stuff that we normally would have splurged on, trying to get our food production as good as we can out of the garden, things like that. It's been ridiculously hot here. I'm in South Carolina, and so our heat index today was 110. So it's so hard to do any kind of outdoor stuff. And
yeah.
No, I agree. Funny enough, I was seeing some people mention microgreens and mason jars. That actually works out like really well. I haven't done them in mason jars. I've actually kind of grown them in big like plastic trays with the coconut husk, and that worked out. But I mean, that's anything that we can do to kind of like lower costs or kind of like grow our own foods. I've really been kind of wanting to get a little more into that, just so that I'm like spending less and less, because it's crazy out here, which which kind of leads me to my first question for all you guys, because I've been seeing like more and more in the news. They've been talking about how there's, at least in the United States, how there's not a there's not a recession like at all. And I don't necessarily agree with that, but I kind of want to know your guys' thoughts.
I don't agree. Not at all.
It feels like it for sure. I guess the actual data is it has to be two quarters with negative domestic growth, I think, is how they measure it if it's an actual recession. So we haven't hit that yet. It looks like we're probably are going to hit it. But it certainly feels like it, especially if you're not in the top 1%, which I'm not.
Yeah. No, I'm low income. I am on food stamps. I have a very limited budget. And for me to buy groceries, I mean, I know everyone's struggling, but I really feel it. I literally, and it's crazy. It's insane. So at my end, yes, we're having a recession. I don't care what the government says. I am having a recession. So that's how I feel.
How about for you, Vancity, up in Canada?
Oh yeah, I feel like they're gonna tell us whatever they want to tell us, and also to prevent panic, and then to also roll out whatever plans they want to do. So yeah, definitely seems pretty bad in Canada as well.
Because I know one of the main things, at least when I go shopping, is like it seems like, and I know all of you guys have heard the term shrinkflation. That seems to be really running rampant, where things that I'd buy, maybe like a couple of years ago, I buy now, and I honestly don't even want to buy it because it's either the same price or it's more expensive.
Mhm.
And it's, you get these little tiny packages, and it's just, well, what is this?
It's not good.
Well, I don't buy it personally, but I even heard that the Burger King Whopper has shrunk in size. It used to be this big thing, and it's smaller apparently.
Oh, wow.
I think everything is affected by that. I literally, everything. I don't think there's much that hasn't shrunk in cost the same or more.
So do you guys, like for, I guess, food storage purposes, do you guys, try and go to, like big box stores, like a Sam's Club, or, like a, what do they call them? Like a warehouse type store of that nature?
Yeah, we in our household we use Costco. We buy in bulk. You have to watch it though. Like buying in bulk doesn't always save you money. You really have to kind of check it.
Yeah.
Usually it will. And we do some dehydrating stuff from the garden, things like that. Put some stuff up. I haven't done any canning this year. I have done canning in years past, and that can be kind of a nice way to do it too. And of course, anything you pull out of the garden and do your dehydrating or canning, or I know you've got the freeze dryer. It's going to taste better than anything store bought because it was yours and you kind of know what was in it.
Yeah, I don't shop at the big box stores. I don't have a car. I have to either ride the bus or get groceries delivered. So most of my groceries have to come from Walmart because, again, I use food stamps, and they are the only place that takes food stamps through online delivery for my area, which kind of sucks. I can't just get like from another grocery store and order online and pay with my food stamps. I have to go into the store, except with Walmart. So with not having a car, it makes it a little more difficult for me. So that's what I have to do. And then I'm lucky I do have a salvage grocery store nearby, and I try to go down there sometimes and pick through their stuff and get some pretty good deals. I got, what was it? The other day I bought like 10 bags of chips, big bags of potato chips for 50 cents each. So that was
really
nice.
I've never seen a bag of potato chips cost $6 nowadays.
Yeah, there's some brand I'd never heard of, and they're actually quite good. And they were expired by like a month, but potato chips can be months down the road and still taste fine. At least that's my experience. So yeah, we bought a whole bunch of them because my little brother does like his chips. So yeah, so that was nice. But that's how I have to do it.
Nice.
I wish we had a salvage store near me. That sounds awesome.
It is.
Let's take a look at some of these comments. I hate shrinkflation. We bought some popsicles for the 4th, and they were half size from what I remember. Oh, that's awesome. When one considers what gas price alone is doing to our farmers and truckers, just consider that alone, and we are in deep trouble.
Yeah.
Introducing our all-new line of 6-pack eggs, now identifying as 12 packs. Okay, that good one, Bacon. Google Mexican markets. If you have one, they are by far the cheapest food stores where I'm at. That's actually some good advice. Like just because I know that there's a lot of at least where I am, there's a lot of stores like like a lot of like big grocery stores where you'll go there and they have they send you the little clippings in the mail for all of the discounts and such. And I mean, sometimes you can't even really like trust those. Even like upcoming Prime Day, that's like next week, I believe. You do have to watch out for that kind of stuff if you're gonna like purchase items from Amazon, because they'll like jack up the price but then lower it just so that it makes it seem like that you're getting a deal, but you're actually not.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we have here. We never buy grocery in Walmart. That's fair. Elon apparently backed out of the Twitter deal today. I hope this doesn't cause any more problems since he always causes the stocks to flux. Actually, speaking of which, I know, like I know for myself, I do have a little bit of crypto, and yeah, I know like you, Sarge, you have a little bit of like crypto and stocks and silver and gold and such. Any kind of like changes in terms of your financial preparedness?
Oh,
Uh,
yeah, big time. Um, there's not really any safe havens right now. The gold and silver was hanging in there for a while, and it wasn't losing as much as some other assets, but they recently just like dropped off the table, like completely tanked. Crypto is like dead right now. I don't know that that's the final breath for crypto. It could make another push, but it's dead for now. So right now, I know some people were doing I bonds, which I don't really do too much with that, but it's a bond that your interest is linked to the current interest rate, which the government keeps jacking up. So the more the government jacks that up, the more money you make. People, if are interested in that, they can just look up I bonds basically, and they should lead them in the right direction. And pretty much right now, I mean, I've been buying stuff that was like that I normally would buy as like Fortune 500 companies, Coca-Cola, Google, Amazon, companies that I know are going to survive this not recession that we're in. Google split. No, I'm sorry. Amazon split a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
I bought as
yeah,
much
they
as I
split.
could afford to get before that split, and Google is about to split. The cutoff date unfortunately has already passed, so people can't get in on before the split. I bought as much Google as I could before the split too. Just kind of being a little bit less risk right now and more putting it into stuff that I know is going to make it through. I would not personally, it's not financial advice. This is just advice for me, Sarge. I would not be investing in any companies that are a little bit high risk right now or like too small that might not make it through the recession.
Yeah.
So we're holding on to precious metals for the long term, or even like multi-generation thing, and just trying to think about hard assets, because of course, like any cash is in not keeping up with inflation, so it's just getting worse, less and less and less and less and less. So yeah, it's definitely a tricky time. And then you guys may have heard that in Canada today, Interact isn't working in a lot of places, and a couple of big major phone companies are down, and I wasn't able to do some internet banking and things like that. So there's definitely, it's great to have different options, but that's the thing. I mean, we're talking about what stores do we shop at, and it kind of is a luxury to be able to go and to different stores and go to Costco and compare and that sort of thing. So it's really tough because if you only have a few stores you can access, and that makes it a lot more challenging to stretch those dollars.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, y'all were talking about, I'll just mention, I had some silver and I had some crypto, but I had to dump them all last summer when I was homeless. I needed to live. So my crypto, I didn't have a lot, but I sold my crypto, or I cashed it out, whatever. And I sold all the silver. I had about 150 silver pieces, and I ended up selling them all. Just to kind of get by. And I'm bummed about that. I haven't started buying any again, but I would like to. Even though it's been tanking and things are happening, I still think it's a good deal. I think it's good to have something and diversify, because the dollar sucks.
Yeah.
You just demonstrated why it's a good asset.
Yep, I was just going to say that.
It absolutely. It got me through a couple months of needing to buy groceries and do things, because at that time I did not have food stamps. I did have a car, and I had a brother and a dog to look after, and we were living in a car. So that was, I'm so thankful. I mean, I sold a lot of things last summer to get by. I sold my firearms. Don't know if I'm supposed to say that. Sorry. But I sold that. I sold everything that a lot of preppers hold on to, because I needed to survive. And so it's only been the last couple months I've been in an apartment, and I'm starting over everything. So I have a long ways to catch up with y'all.
No, I mean that like Sarge said, that is the perfect example of why we prepare. That's great example.
I would have done the exact same thing. That's prepping right there.
Well, it is,
Exactly.
and I've always had the storage unit, and I've had extra food and clothing and medicine and stuff like that in the storage unit. But just for the everyday stuff, I got rid of it. I sold it, and did what I had to do. But yeah, I'm so glad I had it. That really is. People say you shouldn't buy silver. Well, I'm glad I had it, and I would like to get some more.
Yeah, the knock against precious metals is always, well, you can't eat precious metals. Well, if you need money, well, you could probably eat gold, but in the knock, so if you had an emergency, good luck selling your can of peaches, So different preps for different purposes.
Exactly. I concur.
I agree.
I kind of wanted to look at crypto is useless without electricity. I will say that I kind of do agree with that, and that's why kind of looking at some of the legislature that's going on, and kind of like the United States wanting to essentially copy what other countries like China and such are doing with the digital dollar. Yeah, I'm not too thrilled about that.
Yeah.
I've done a video on the digital dollar. So yeah, I mean, if you guys want to take a look at it, be my guest. But I mean, essentially, it's the dollar right now isn't even like that good right now, and there's just so many issues. There's so many like technological issues as well as like cybersecurity issues that I don't think that we've even taken care of in order to switch to some sort of digital dollar. What do you guys think about that?
Well, I think it's really worrisome because of the whole, of course, negative interest rate that they want to put on it, so that if if you don't spend it, you'll lose it, and just forcing complete regulation of how money is used, and if it's not used, it can be gone, it can be taken away. So it's definitely scary.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's going to help. A lot of people see it as a short-term help, so they're in favor of it, and that doesn't help either.
Yeah. And also, I think they'll have control over what you spend it on. And that, to me, is even more frightening. I mean, I'm a person who likes to give to church every once in a while. What if I can't? What if they say, no, we don't think that you should do that because, it's not something we agree with. And then they have that control over what you spend. That's what I'm afraid of happening.
Yeah, because even the one, kind of like what I went over in that video, even the one that they have in China, it's it's funny because they say that it's anonymous. It's anonymous to the merchant that you're purchasing from. So like if you were purchasing something from, I guess, let's say like Amazon or something, they wouldn't know necessarily who's buying all of these items, but obviously the government's gonna they know who's buying what with that digital currency.
Obviously. They're gonna keep tag on you. Yeah.
And that's the main goal, I think, with the DigiDollar or Project Hamilton or whatever they decide to call it, is they don't like when currency can't be tracked, because if it can't be tracked, it can't be taxed. And that's the thing. That's the thing. So whenever it's unveiled, and it will be, I don't know if it'll be in 5 years, 10 years, whatever, but eventually that's going to be, we'll transition to some kind of digital currency, and then there'll probably be I think there'll be a while where you can use both. You can use your cash dollars and coins and things like that, and digital currency. But the goal, I'm sure, is to get it all to digital currency at some point in the future.
Yeah, I think there will be incentives to stores to have signs like cash not taken here.
Oh no.
Or there'll be a cutoff period where they'll say, you can exchange. This is just an example. You can exchange $1 for a DigiDollar by going to your bank and blah 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 blah, up until such and such a point.
Yeah.
And then it'll be like Confederate money in the United States, which it doesn't have any value except to a collector.
Ugh.
And then, of course, linking it to our social credit score and that whole scary thing as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, social credit score. I'm not going to have a high one of those. I know.
There's all kinds of bad potential, like carbon, using it on your carbon taxing and stuff like that. And like, oh, you used a little bit extra electricity because it's the summertime and it's 110 degrees in South Carolina, Sarge. Ha ha ha. We got you for the carbon tax. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. It's
So speaking of which, I kind of want to I guess shift a little, shift gears a little bit toward kind of going outside. And like for I Sarge, I kind of wanted to ask you, like what just because, I'm very interested and I'm kind of, doing my research and kind of learning about uh, foraging, and I kind of want to know like what actually got you into foraging.
Well, part of it was, like my mom, excuse me, my mom had a big love of plants, and that's how I got into the gardening bit of it. The foraging piece came a little bit later when I was in Boy Scouts, and they have wilderness survival classes and things like that. And learning about it through that, I just kind of fell in love with it. And not just edible, like foraging is not just about like edible plants. Sometimes it's medicinal plants or plants that have a purpose. Like there's certain plants like dog fennel and American beautyberry leaves, which can be used as an insect repellent. Certain things can be turned into like a paste, if you needed like a glue. You can bushcraft like rope and hemp and things like that with, to make rope and cordage and things like that. But most of it is for food, and so it was Boy Scouts that got me started. And people always ask, like, the worry about what if I eat something poisonous? Well, don't do that. be 100% sure before you do it. There's like stuff from the 1800s where they call like the survival test, where people would put a little bit on their tongue. I do not recommend that, and nor do a lot of other foragers. There are things that can kill you with just a little bit. So I recommend you be 100% sure before you put it in your mouth, and you really should be 100% sure before you even touch it.
yeah.
Because some stuff can even react to just touch, and you can get a real bad reaction to that. Some stuff's endangered. Like one of the things that's ghost pipes is this weird plant. People can look that up later on. Ghost pipes. It's this really weird plant, but it has a lot of medicinal quality. So people go out there and forage those, but they take years to grow and they don't propagate easily. So they're actually now becoming endangered. So if I don't need that, I don't usually harvest it. Like I will find it. I might do a video about it. I might make a mental note of it. I might write it in my own little journals. Like, hey, this is here if I ever need it. But I don't always harvest what I find. It's sometimes it's fun just to find it.
Okay.
Get some books. Get some books from your region. Those ID apps and stuff like that, they're okay, but they make mistakes. I wouldn't rely on that as your only source. If you want to use it as like a starting point, like to say, hey, what's this plant? And then it says, oh, that's lemon balm or whatever. And you say, okay, now I'm going to go on Google and I'm going to start looking up lemon balm, and I'm going to pull out my book and I'm going to look at lemon balm and say, does this look right? And check multiple sources until you know that plant inside and out.
Multiple sources, the key.
Let's see. All this time I thought Sarge got into foraging because he lost one of his EDC tactical Rolex watches on one of his hikes and ran across a whole field of blueberries while looking for it. I like that. That's funny.
I would like to have a tactical Rolex. That would be cool.
So Vancity, I know, I've been, kind of like looking at your videos lately, and you were talking about the like new homestead and the like the whole new moving process. So I guess what do you think is going to be, I guess, like kind of the hardest thing to kind of look at or, like take care of for that whole experience? Or, I guess, what has your experience been so far?
Well, we have been here before. We have actually been in this exact spot in the past, so that part makes it a little bit easier. The other half of the channel has, a large scale farming experience, grew up farming in England. But the thing is finding animals that will last the winter is kind of an issue, because it does get really cold up here, of course. And just the fact also that we're starting it so late in the season, we were late getting up here, and of course it's July, so we're trying to get crops of certain things to produce, you know how it is. Like I might get, I'll get some radishes, I'll get some carrots, I'll get all those one-up things. But some of the stuff that needed to get going a few months ago in order to do anything is that's gonna be, it's really a race against time. I know it sounds dramatic, but luckily we have light so late at night. I mean, I was planting seeds last night at 10 o'clock in the daylight, so but yeah, getting everything organized, especially in a low populated area where there aren't a lot of trades to help with certain things, because calling on expertise and learning things from people when there aren't a lot of people around is also a challenge, which is why it's good to learn things or have YouTube channels that you turn to for advice and info.
No, you're not wrong.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
So let's see what we have here. The people in these wilderness survival shows who guess if they can eat a little bit of a plant make me crazy. Oh, you're not wrong.
Can I say something about that? Like, okay, so because I'm on a different channel here, half of our channel is a professional helicopter pilot, and I got to say, like, some of the people that I know have flown these folks in and out to hotels every night. Like, I'm not going to use any names, but some of these survival shows look really real, but they're not. Just so you know.
No shocker.
Yeah. Because I knew the pilots who were doing some of this flying, so it's definitely true. And like where the hotel was located and stuff. So some of them are fully fake.
Gotcha. The Forager's Guide by Nicole Apelin, PhD. I don't know that book, but I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah, she was on Alone, and she is a phenomenal foraging teacher. She really is top notch.
Oh, she was?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. I wonder what I might have to look at that. I've watched a lot of Alone, and I mean it that particular show actually, because of kind of like how real it is, it really does kind of put into perspective, just like some things that we take for granted, like they don't have spices or anything out there. They're just eating whatever it is that they can kind of grab out there. And even the I don't know if any of you guys have seen that show, but they even had like a season where they had two people like per team, and they kind of like dropped one of them off. That person was supposed to kind of like find and set up the kind of like camp area, while the other one walked over, or I guess trekked over to the second person. And later on in the season, you kind of just see some of these teams, they get like upset at the other person just for little tiny reasons, and it's just it's like, wow, you guys haven't prepped for morale at all. But no, it really does kind of show how much we take for granted, and for like people that always say, oh well, we're just gonna bug out if anything goes bad. Yeah, watch that show. I guarantee you by the end of it, you're gonna retract that statement.
And I don't know if you all have done this, but go and spend just one night in the woods building your own shelter. Don't bring a flashlight, just bring a knife and some cordage. And I've done it, and it is a phenomenal experience. You will learn a lot about yourself. You won't sleep much. I promise that. But you'll do a lot of thinking, but it's such a good experience. Like I walked away from that like, well, if I can do this, I can do anything, you know.
Yeah, lots of times when I worked out in the doing mapping and stuff, like we wouldn't get picked up. Like there was bad weather, they couldn't pick us up, and we were out there, and it's like it's really hard. It's not, and I mean that would be with equipment, but we've been weathered in places for, you know, tent camps for weeks, and you just gotta make it work.
No, you're not wrong. Actually, funny enough, by Floydian, this comment, you can't make it alone. We need each other. So I know, you know, like even myself, I'll admit that, you know, I honestly don't necessarily know a lot of my neighbors, and you know, I like a part of me does think that that is, you know, kind of a bad thing. So yeah, I know at least one of them, and I know of them. You know, like I've seen them. I've, you know, kind of like waved, but um, a lot of people, you know, they kind of go on this whole lone wolf tangent, and you know, they're kind of just like, oh well, if something happens, I'll go it alone, and that'll be it. But I honestly don't think, you know, long term you're gonna want to have that type of community. But yeah, I kind of want to know your guys' thoughts on how you can, you know, kind of get more of a community, um, you know, for your guys' situations.
Who wants to go first?
Go ahead, probably
What?
the or Vancity.
You go ahead, Sarge.
Okay. I've talked about this in some of the mental health pieces that that's a fantasy, you know, like I Am Legend or Mad Max and whatnot. You know, we're really, humans are basically herd animals. You know, your mental health will deteriorate without companionship. And that's been proven in a lot of research in my field. People have done this. They've gone off for, you know, 30 days into a seclusion to do some research to what happens in the brain. And funny things start happening after about the 30-day mark. So it's not reality. Would you survive? You know, what's the Tom Hanks one where he's on the island there, Castaway? Would you survive?
Castaway.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got skills, you probably could survive for a very long time, but your mental health is going to deteriorate pretty fast.
And a volleyball for a friend, right?
He at least had a volleyball, and Max had his dog, and the guy from I Am Legend had his dog. So that would help. You know, having a pet would help. But we're herd animals. We're meant to have community, and so what do I do? You know, we've gotten to know our neighbors enough to know, like, we have certain ones that we trust a lot. We know, because we've had hurricanes here, power goes out, half the city is evacuated. We usually stay behind, and they usually stay behind. So we're in communication, because that's when the looters go around, when they're looking for empty houses. So we're in communication, and, you know, I'll stay up all night and let him, you know, what did I see? And then maybe my wife takes a shift, and so, you know, then my neighbor next door takes a shift, just kind of watching out for each other. And I know that they got our back, because I've been in my backyard with a flashlight and my phone's blowing up like, hey, somebody's in your backyard. So know your neighbors, first of all. And then I was actually having a conversation with somebody about this on a forum today about bug out locations and stuff like that. To me, your bug out location should not be in the woods. That's not a good idea unless you're trying to evade something. Your bug out location should be a friend's house or a family member's house. And so talk to them. Don't just show up on their doorstep. Have a mutual agreement that they can come to you and you can go to them. Maybe have a couple of those locations. So we have some of that stuff. I'm not going to get into all of my operational security stuff, but have those conversations in advance, not when the SHTF.
Right.
I actually didn't think about it like that, of you know, having your bug out location be to another person. That actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's really hard to survive in the woods. It really is. It really.
I would not be able to survive in the woods. I'll be honest. I could survive for a short while, but long term, there's no way. I mean, I could survive longer than most city people probably, but I would not enjoy it.
No, I agree.
I think day 3 it would probably start to lose its fun factor, and that's if you're like experienced with camping and hiking and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. I enjoy that stuff, but not when I have to do it.
Let's see.
Well, the thing is, we need people for, of course, our mental health, but we also need it for skills, because in the preparedness circles, we all try to learn a little bit of everything, right? So of course, as survival people, or a little bit of sewing, or neat ways to cook food, or a little bit of medical. But the fact is if you have of course, a real medical problem, you need help with someone with advanced training, or you could use that analogy for everything. So we do need access to people with certain precise skill sets. Mm-hmm. So it is good to have a little bit of a community. If I have a digital question, I know where to go, kind of thing, and having some sort of network of people. But it's really tough. Survival living has a lot of advice about how to determine a mag, and of course, safety and security is part of it. And it's always funny because you meet a new person, a new neighbor, and how do you bring up that you're into preparedness? I mean, you don't want to go too far, but how do you even bring it up without being so, anyway, so those conversations, right? But yeah, we do need people for sure.
No,
That's a great question. After Apartment Prepper answers, can we come back to that? Like, how do you have conversations with people about it?
Yeah, I agree.
I was just going to say, see, my situation is it's just my brother and I. We don't have any family. Well, we have some family, but we don't talk to them in another state. Long story. So it's just us. We're on our own. We don't really know a lot of people. So that's something I'm concerned about. But I am thankful, and I've said it before in other live streams, for the community that the people I've met here on YouTube. Mm-hmm. Even though we're not near each other, I feel like I do have some support, at least. People that I can text, I can call, that I can email, and that is better than nothing for me. So.
No, that's fair. That'd probably,
especially when with a good, sorry to interrupt, with a question about the foraging, digital stuff. Mm-hmm. We all have. I know I was emailing a bit with Nene about some questions that we have for each other. It's just really cool to have that resource.
It is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was going to say, like being in this kind of like, I guess, I guess you could say, prepper community. I've seen a whole bunch of, people like you guys who have been, I mean, I watch all you guys' videos, and you guys put out a lot of helpful information that I've used, and I mean, it's even that sort of like small thing that's also kind of a community type thing, even though it's not necessarily a person to person, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But going back to Sarge's question, so how do we have that that conversation? Looking at Aqua Run Girl's comment right here, my adult children refuse to discuss prepping or the reasons for it. Too negative is what they say. I'm patient. Reality will catch up to them.
Yeah.
Ooh. Because I'll say I've had family members come over here, and I've shown them my little like prep stash of stuff and things, and I mean they'll look at it, they'll maybe pick up a can of canned ground beef that I have and go like, what is this? I'm like, well, I mean, if you guys if something happens, you're always you're always willing to come over here. It's just you might have a can of ground beef. So just saying.
I find that storms are a good entry point. My first conversation with people is never going to be, "Hi, I'm Sarge and I'm a prepper. Tell me if you're one too, and what do you have in your house, by the way?" You know, uh, storms are a good entry point.
Mhm.
Like, hey, and for us, that's like a natural because we live in an area that's prone to hurricanes and flooding and things like that. So, at that point, you probably have developed some friendships anyways, or maybe casual things with neighbors and things like that. And so we'll just say, hey, we heard there's a storm possibly coming in this week. We're going to be around. Do you guys need any support? You got everything you need? That usually will start the conversation.
Yeah, that's a good one. Power outage is another one that works well. The power went out in our building this last weekend, and I live in a building with mainly disabled and elderly people. It's like 400 apartments. It's a huge place, and a little old lady from around the corner from me came over and knocked on my door to make sure I was okay. And she had her little lantern. She goes, "Honey, you need to get you one of these." She goes, "It'll save your life." And I was like, "Oh, thank you, but I have one." And and then we just talked a little bit about that type of stuff, which led to her a little bit more. She's a sweet lady, but she is a prepper, I found out. So
I love that.
But it was, she's probably about 80 years old and she's checking on me when I was about, check on her. So, but yeah, that's one way, obviously storms, like you said, the power outage storms, things like that.
Oh,
I think the generation that grew up with the Great Depression and World War II get it. Most of them get it. So it doesn't surprise me to hear that at all. And I love that she came over and brought you something to help you.
It was so sweet. I mean, I have a slight addiction to lanterns and flashlights and candles and all that. We won't go into it, but I do have an addiction. So I'm good there, but it was sweet of her to think of me. So yeah.
No, that's nice.
Sorry,
go ahead.
I'd often bring up the earthquake thing, just because in the Vancouver area, it's on a major subduction zone, Vancouver, Seattle, that whole area, and I think it's not talked about enough. I mean, we all know it's not likely. Well, it's not guaranteed to happen in our lifetimes, but it certainly could, based on its recurrence interval. And then I try to talk a little bit about earthquake kits, and then sometimes, that becomes pretty clear. And I actually just had a friend message and say, "So what kind of survival food do you like?" And that was, oh geez, that was the gateway. I actually sent her a city prepping video.
Nice.
That's a good place to start. Yeah.
Oh, good to know. Let's see here. My thoughts are that once they've experienced a personal SHTF, it'll help begin opening their eyes. I definitely agree with that. And that's with family, it's usually a case of slow and steady wins the race. Yeah, no, I do agree with that. I know a lot of people go like, well, I'm not going to tell anybody that I prep because then everybody's going to be knocking at the door. Sarge, I know you've said like before that, I mean, even then that's not necessarily a bad thing as long as, as long as people are pulling their weight, for lack of a better term.
I mean, that's how I see it. It's, so when people say when, SHTF happens, I'm going to come to your house. Well, how bad are we talking? Like, are you saying like, your area got hit with storms, you need a place to stay? Well, if I know you, I'm probably going to help you out. Right. I'm not, if a stranger shows up on my doorstep, I'm going to be stranger danger, I'm going to be probably treating them differently than somebody I already have an established relationship with. But let's say, something really, really wild happens, like that catastrophic, like we are now got a big problem in our country kind of situation. Well, my question to them is, do you really think you're going to make it to my house?
Right.
And if you make it, I will take you in and here's what I want you to bring.
It's all about what are you bringing with you? Yeah.
Yep.
I tell them bring a tent and garden tools, and they're usually like, oh.
I don't want to go. I don't want to come over anymore.
No, but truthfully, yeah, extra hands, if they're people may not be such a bad thing. And extra eyes, like I talked about, the hurricane situation, and we have looters, and we really do pull security watch in our neighborhood. And I can't stay awake 24/7 for 3 weeks. Nobody can. So
Right.
you're going to have some supports and that kind of stuff. And that's how I look at it. I'm going to help. I mean, I'm probably different than other people's approaches to that, and I respect that. And people say, well, okay, well, maybe I'm going to be dead, but I'm going to be dead helping as many people as I can. And I can live, I'm okay with that. I accept my fate.
You can live with being dead, helping as many people as you
I can live with being dead. It's in my nature to help people. So I'm not, I'm not going to turn away a family and friend. And if it's like, not even if it's a stranger with a baby or something like that, honestly, how cold-hearted are you going to be that you're not going to help them at all? Or a little old lady that comes walking down your street saying, I'm hungry. Are you going to be that cold-hearted that you're not going to help them?
Some people will.
Some people will.
Some people will have no problem. Yeah, I can't either. Yeah.
Now, apartment prepper, I know that, you've kind of talked about, your whole experience with like being homeless and, and like living with, what's the phrase I want to use? Financial wise, I'm trying to ask, like how.
I won't get offended. However you want to phrase it.
It's more of just, I'm just trying to think of the question. I'm just trying to like how do you like what are your tips on like how you prepare with that kind of like lowish income and all that kind of stuff, because I know a lot of people that's like the first thing that I would say to anybody that's like getting started with preparedness is to get your finances in order, to make sure that your money is all situated before you start going out and buying freeze dryers and such. Because you have to have that side of your preparedness prepped in order to do anything else. And
for where I am and for my situation, I'm on disability right now. I do get a little bit of food stamps. My brother gets a little bit of food stamps, and we just do I honestly, do what you can with what you have, where you're at. That's the best advice I can give anybody, and that's what I do. I mean, some people would laugh. I literally spent hours looking at grocery prices and trying to figure out what I'm going to get on my next grocery trip, my monthly groceries, and what, I'm trying to build, because I told you I started over basically. I'm trying to build up to so many months worth of stuff to take care of myself, my brother, and my little dog, which people laugh at me for wanting to take care of my dog, but that's I love my dog.
Part of the family.
Yeah, he is definitely family. So, but that's what I'm working on right now. And, little by little paying off some debt as well. But I do, I'm really focusing. It's not a lot, but that 3 to 6 months is what I'm focusing on right now, since I did have to start over. And that's just kind of what I'm working on there. Cause I was lucky. I already had some of the gear. Like I have the solar, I've got the EcoFlow Delta I bought when they were handing out cash back in 2020 and 2021, when the government were giving us those checks. I bought stuff like the EcoFlow Delta and a Jackery. And I bought things like that were going to last a while and be useful down the road. And then honestly, I mean, the Jackery I used while I was homeless. So that worked out really well. In the car, if you want to charge up stuff, it works. Phones, computers, everything. I mean, I could tell you in my town where all the free internet spots were. So, I had it all figured out. But right now, it's really just most of it is food for me right now. Really, that's what I'm working on. So, but just sorry, I talk too much. I know, but just what you
No, you don't. No, you don't.
What you can,
not at all.
What you have, just do it. There's no excuse. Honestly, there's no excuse for anybody not to do something towards prepping.
No, I agree, because I know like my folks, they've told me like before, everybody, what did they say? They said like everybody should have an experience with like living below what their means are, so that they have an understanding of how to live in those types of situations. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
because I honestly, I've been, you know, and I think everybody should, you know, try to at least like imagine if they didn't have, you know, as much financial stability as they do have, what could they be doing to, you know, save as much as they can?
Oh
Because
yeah.
you know, like I said, financial preparedness is that's number one for me.
No,
And
that's a good one to have.
Well, it goes through, life goes through cycles, right? I mean, we may be doing fine 1 year, 1 month, 1 decade, and then it can change. It could, you know, some people the whole time they're okay, but a lot of people go through ups and downs, and
Hmm.
so yeah, we have to be always thinking of that, even if that's not us right now. It could be us next month or a year from now.
Yeah.
And even though I talk about it so openly because I'm not embarrassed or ashamed that I was ever homeless. It happened.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Even though it was hard as heck, I am so grateful for that time because I learned a lot. I learned a lot just about survival from being homeless for 5.5 months. So,
I
and
can imagine.
there was special needs brother and a dog during all that. So I learned a whole lot and I'm thankful for it. And so that's one reason I'm so open about it. But yeah, you can learn from anything and any experience you have, take it and learn what you can and apply it.
If you have to give maybe like, I was just going to say, if you have to give maybe like top 3 things that you've learned during that experience, you know, like what would they be?
Gosh, well, one thing is I've learned how to do the layers and everything when it's cold at night because I was actually in a blizzard sleeping in my car. Utah got hit with a blizzard and my brother was not with me nor my dog that night. My brother was in the hospital. He was having surgery to have his toe removed. Lovely time. But he was in the hospital in a warm hospital bed. My dog was staying in Salt Lake City with a place that took care of him for a while. But I was in a blizzard in the car, but I had already learned how to layer my clothes. And I learned about if you're in a car, you crack the windows. Even a blizzard, you crack the windows or else you get too much condensation inside and inside of your car can ice. And it's just how to stay warm, I guess is what I'm trying. How to stay warm even when it's really cold. And I was telling Prepping by Faith the other day, staying warm in the winter. You know those hot hand warmer things you could buy that snap and they warm up?
Mm-hmm.
Those will be your best friend in very cold weather, even if you're outside without a vehicle. If you stick one of those in the small of your back, it'll warm up your entire core for hours. So that was, just a lot of it had to do with staying warm and just basically how not to lose it mentally. I mean, I did have a couple days, but how to keep it together during all that for the people I was looking after, my brother. So
I love your mental attitude there because that's such a huge part of survival, and I think people neglect that. And don't take it from me, take it from Dave Canterbury, who talked about that. Like, your mindset is going to really be the biggest factor. You know, not so much like your bushcrafting skills and, how much homesteading knowledge you have. It's your mindset and, your will to survive and your will to figure it out and adapt.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And see, and the thing for me is I've dealt my whole life with depression and things like that. And so it's almost like an extra fight for me to stay in a good mental place, but you can do it. Anybody can really do it. And I know that I just think they can because I know I can do it with all the stuff I faced. So, and I know people have it way worse than me and I understand that, but I'm just saying through my experiences and everything I've dealt with, I figure everybody else can manage it too.
No, great tips.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. We're kind of winding down here. Let's take a look at some of the comments here. What about gasoline? No one talks about it anymore. No, we don't talk about gasoline here. It's too expensive. But no, I've bought like last year. So I've already had the equipment, but just kind of purchasing gas for when in the little like gas cans, just to kind of have them, just because things keep going up. They keep going up. Our gas around here is about like $5.80, almost $6, at least out here. I don't know about you guys, but yeah, no, I don't like talking about gas.
I mean, that was one of the first things that Mrs. Sarge and I cut, was like, okay, all of our little joyriding around to all the parks that I like to hike, and hey, let's go hop in the car, let's go for a ride, let's go do that. That was the first thing we cut.
I ride the bus, so it doesn't affect me technically.
Have they raised prices on tickets for the bus?
Not yet, but
yet.
One thing I've seen is suddenly there's been driver shortages, but the driver shortages started when the gas went up. So some of the bus routes are getting temporarily suspended.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Where did you live being homeless in a car?
I was in a car for part of the time, yes.
Yeah.
I used to have a car. I now have an apartment instead. I chose an apartment over a car. I had to just pick one or the other. So yeah.
Put hot water in a quart jar and wrap it with a towel. It will stay warm for a long time. Yeah. That is legitimate. Cheapest warmer is 2 9-volt rechargeable batteries put together. I'm not gonna condemn or say to do that. Do that at your own risk. I agree. We're gonna have to dig down and find that will to keep going. I definitely agree. Morale is one of those preps that, I mean, you can't really prepare enough to have sources of morale. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I did a video a couple weeks ago at the spur of the moment, talking to people about not getting overwhelmed and not, letting things that are happening right now affect them. And the response was crazy. I mean, the response was, I'm still getting emails about it. So people, they need that. They need to know how to keep their morale up.
Yeah. Okay.
And in terms of tools, like Vipassana meditation, both of us on this channel, we're Vipassana meditators, and that helps as an actual tool of a thing to do. Because it's and it's sometimes hard to know what to actually do. So that's one thing. It's not affiliated with any religion. It's just a technique. So that's one thing people can try.
Gotcha. All right. Do you guys have any, any videos that are upcoming, or anything upcoming that you guys want to, kind of talk about right now?
I've got one coming out in about 20 minutes. It's a review for a flashlight for PowerTech, and next week I'm going to be talking about Jace Medical, which you and I have talked about. Do you want to talk about that now, or are you going to save that for another time?
I'll save mine for another time.
I have a Jace Medical coming out next week as well.
Suspicious coincidence.
Well, no, they've been hitting up. There's a whole bunch of people, right?
Yeah,
Northern Girls Hobby did one today. There's been several of them come out in the last week, so they're doing another round.
Yep.
I've had a link for a while, but I never got my kit from months ago. So
you need to contact them.
Yeah, I would contact them,
because I got my kit a week after I talked to her.
Yeah,
so you might want to contact them back, because it's been a while on yours. Yeah.
It's been.
I have to say hi to someone real quick. Independent, hello. It's somebody from Instagram that I know.
Oh, right on. Cool.
So.
Hey there.
I'm very excited. Carbon Q is going to be on the channel. We're going to get back into our Wednesday night lives, because with moving, I haven't been doing any videos. But Carbon Q is going to be there. How awesome is that?
That is cool. I like her.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna excuse me. I'm gonna go ahead and post your guys' links here in the chat. They'll also be in the description, so go ahead and take a look if you haven't already. Let's see, boop, bam, and oh, there we go. So yeah, I appreciate you guys coming out, taking the time to kind of talk, and I think I've had a lot of fun, and I hope you guys did. I hope you guys in the chat have had fun. Um, awesome stuff.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks
It's
for
been so
having
fun.
me.
You guys are great. And everyone in chat, thank you for being here.
Thanks, guys.
Good chat. Good questions.
So yeah. So with that being said, again, take a look at everybody's channels here. If you aren't subscribed already, go ahead and hit the like button and and subscribe. And yeah, with that being said, stay safe, stay prepared. More digital prepping to come.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
Bye.